Alright guys, welcome back out here to the shop. So, started working on the Can-Am a little bit after our last adventure. As you could tell in the video, I showed you that the lower control arms were kind of interfering a little bit with the brake rotors. So, pulled the suspension off of it. That way I could cycle the control arms freely, and then was able basically just to clean this up with a flap disc on the grinder. But while I was down here, I noticed that the ball joints in it were, well, pretty roached. So these are Keller ball joints, so you can actually rebuild them. So got the new rebuild kits. It's kind of cool how this works. Basically you're just going to replace, the ball and cup in there. And so that's on the plan for today. And then after that, really want to get this thing back on all fours. Alright, first thing we're going to want to do for rebuilding these Keller ball joints is we're going to separate the front steering knuckle from the lower ball joint. Basically this pinch bolt right here, 15mm on both sides. Going to take that out, and then I already have a ratchet strap on this upper control arm. Once that's free, right, then I can crank this up, get it up out of the way. That way we have more room to work down here. So that's going to be step number one. I was really hoping that these Keller ball joints would last a lot longer, but I don't know. I'm not sure. It's they're crazy expensive as far as ball joints go. They're actually a lot of maintenance. I don't know if I like that. I got that up out of the way. Let's pull this lower control arm off here. So underneath here, basically, giant cup down here. It's a 35mm socket, and this is torqued to 150 foot-pounds, so it'll probably take a little bit of oomph to get it off. But before you do that, there's a set screw and a jam nut down here. The jam nut is a 19mm wrench. Just break that loose, and then 1/4" Allen. Just back the set screw out all the way. Then we can take off that large 35mm. Okay, got those out. Now grab the impact gun, give it some ooga-doogas. There we go. Piece of cake. Now should be able to pop this thing out of here. Just push it down. So there we have the cup, and then next thing is the, I don't know what you want to call it, but basically the post. So yeah, plenty of grease on it. So what I was noticing is that when these, when you tighten down that set screw and the ball joint was basically kind of like straight up and down, it would, work nicely, right? You could tighten it down and stuff, and it would just take the slop out of it, and it worked really good. Then when you'd cycle the suspension, you get like to the extremes to where that ball joint was kind of, starting to kind of get bent a little bit. It would bind up super bad. So figured, you know what? I'll just replace both sides. That way, clean bill of health, and then I don't have to think about it and don't have to worry about it. And then maybe this time I'll stay up on maintenance a little bit better. Alright, now got that all nice and cleaned up. Just use some WD-40 on it. So basically, push your ball joint up in there. Make sure that the cup is nice and clean. Right, put that back up there. A little better. Okay, and then take the, lower, I don't know, giant cup cap bolt nut thing. Right, thread that back on there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did you guys just see that? Talk about going in dry. No grease on that. None at all. What an amateur. Make sure you grease your ball and socket first. Alright? Don't be like this guy. Grease it first, install, and then we'll grease more later. Rookies. There we go. Now we're going to run this down to 150 foot-pounds, and then we will put our set screw and jam nut in there. So, all right, I'm gonna torque this thing down to 150, and then after that, continue on. Nice satisfying click. All right, now got a hot dog in the hallway, so we're gonna put our set screw and jam nut in here. So run this set screw in, basically just kind of like until it contacts, and then you're gonna back it off like a 1/16 of a turn. Okay, see that right there basically, right? So it just contacted, and yep, ball joint is kind of snug. So I'm just gonna back it off like a 1/16 of a turn, and we're gonna tighten down our jam nut. Okay, and the ball joint now moves nice and free, but no slop, which is good. So snug down our jam nut. They say to tighten this thing down to 90 foot-pounds, but 90? It's 50. What are you doing? You know, you'd think he's got the ability to run a camera, he'd have the ability to read. No. It's 50. 50. Not 90. You guys see what I'm dealing with?
Man, sorry. Can I continue with the video now?
Yes, get back to it. Please. With, I basically only have like 3/4 of the threads in that jam nut engaged. So I'm not going to do that because I'm worried that will strip that thing out. So after this, we'll throw on our dust boot, which basically just gets zip tied on the top and on the bottom, and then after that we will grease it, and then we're done. I just realized you need to have a grease needle to grease these, so figured I'd kind of let you guys know. The other thing that I was also just thinking about is I'm in a very, I don't know, good position, I think, to review these because I actually didn't pay for these. Now, Keller did not give them to me. I bought the control arms used, and they only had a couple 100 miles on them. And they came with the Keller ball joints in them. I didn't even know they came with ball joints in them. So, that being said, I can give you guys a super unbiased view and perspective on these because, well, I didn't pay for them, and I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I don't have anybody to answer to.